Hey everyone, I'm Sean Mullen from Rampant Design, and welcome to another episode of Ask Rampant, our weekly series where you ask the questions and we do our best to answer them. Today's question: how do you do that text wipe effect in your promos? Well, this technique is known, I don't know what it's known as, to be honest. I just call it split text. My clients call it split text. There's probably an official term for it. I just don't happen to know what it's called. You see this effect everywhere. If you've ever watched anything on the A&E network, their promos are heavy with it. Esquire does the same thing. You see this all over YouTube. This is a really fantastic way to spruce up your type and your text effects if you're doing a promo or if you're doing some kind of a title sequence or a template or just anything that you want. So just some really classy type and it doesn't look canned. So I'm going to jump into After Effects and show you how it's done. AE is my favorite app when it comes to animating type and motion graphics. However, if you don't use After Effects and you don't want to learn it, it's okay. I'm also going to show you a way to do this in Adobe Premiere. So don't hit quit just yet. Hang on, and I'm going to run through After Effects real quick, and then I'll show you how it's done in Premiere. All right, so let's jump into AE. Okay, as you can see, I've already got some comps built. I'm going to show you how to do the traditional split text effect where it comes from the center, like that. And then another one where you're right justified. So say you want to put a logo or some video here, or this is you're gonna have an actor here or whatever. And then of course my favorite one, the one that splits from the center and reveals. So I'm going to show you how to do these three text effects very, very quickly. If it wasn't for my rambling on, we'd be done already. It's that simple. Okay, first thing we need to do is make a new composition. And if you've never used After Effects before, that's just a fancy term for timeline. So to do that, you go to Composition and you click New Composition. You can also, right here where it says Command N, you can also hit Command N to make a new comp. So I'm going to do that, Command N. And it brings up this box right here. It says Composition Settings. We're going to name our comp, so let's just call it Split Type. Boom. And here's where you pick your settings. I'm doing 1920 by 1080 HD, square pixels at 23976. There's my duration, my resolution, all the happy fun stuff. This probably will work for you, but if you have something specific, just dial it in here and click OK. And all it's done is created a timeline for you. Now our timeline's empty, so what do? We start off with our type. So click the text tool right here and click in the screen and just type something. I'm going to type Rampant and I'm going to scale it up real big. For those of you who are interested, I am using the Zona Pro font. I am really crazy about it right now. I go through this phase where I use a font up until I hate it and it's dead to me. So right now I'm still in love with this font. I'm sure a week from now I will never use this thing again. It's a great font though. All right, so I'm gonna, like I said, type Rampant here, and I'll turn on my title action safe just for a little bit of reference to see where we are. I think that's a little too big there. There we go. I'll just adjust to taste. That's pretty good. And what I'll do is I'll highlight this text layer and I'll hit Command D to duplicate it, turn off the bottom layer, and change this from Rampant to Design. Go. So turn them both on, and now Design is on top of Rampant. I'm going to hit P on the Design layer and pull this down so I can move it beneath the Rampant. Now I could leave it here. I like that justification, but I actually want it to be centered, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust accordingly. There we go. That's pretty good. Okay, and if you ever want to reposition your type after you've got your nice layout, just hit Command A, or you can Shift select your layers, and then just hold Shift and use the arrow keys to move your text around, or you can not hold Shift and move them in smaller increments. I usually work in increments of 10, which is what Shift does. Alright, so that's pretty good. I'm happy. Let's move on. Okay, so there's two steps to this. There's the animation and there's the matting. So let's go to 1 second, which is right here. So you can either click on the actual time itself, or you can click and drag the CT here, CTI. So I'm gonna go to 1 second. You can also click here and put in your time too. I love how Adobe gives you 9 different ways to do the same thing. That's great. All right, so we're at 1 second. This is where I want my animation to finish, and this is our finished position. So I'm already done animating this particular position. So I'll highlight both layers, hit P to make sure that the positional information is up, and then I'll click the stopwatch. And if you highlight both layers at the same time and you click stopwatch, it will make a keyframe on both. If you didn't have them both highlighted, you have to do it one at a time. So now, as you can see right here, I've got 2 keyframes. That's my finished position. So we can roll back to the timeline, or you can hit home to get back to the first frame. And here's where the animation starts. So I'm going to start with Rampant. and I'm going to pull it down right on top of design, like so. And then I'm going to click on design and pull it up to where rampant was. So now it looks like it says design rampant. So if I hit the space bar, there you go. Now, one thing I'm sure you've seen a lot when you work in any animation tool is linear keyframes look like it hits a brick wall when it hits the keyframe. Boom, like that. That's no good for me. So I'm going to go ahead and click and drag over these two keyframes right here, these two final keyframes. Right click, go to Keyframe Assistant, and Easy Ease In. That's going to make this animation a lot smoother. Go back to the top, hit spacebar. Boom. Nice. Much smoother. Okay, the animation's done. Now the next step is to mat it. Let's go under Layer, New, Solid, or you can hit Command Y. I'm not going to label the solid. I know what a solid is, but you can label it anything you want. Hit OK. And I've made my solid white. I like to work with mattes in Luma, so make sure you're using either white or black. Any variation, any color in between is not going to work for you if you're doing Luma. So I choose white. So right now it's covering the entire screen. That's no good. I want to reposition this first layer right up here, this solid. Hit P, pull it all the way up until it's just covering rampant, like that. Okay. Now let's pull this solid, put it above rampant, and now click on the rampant layer and choose Track Matte, Luma Matte. Okay. So let's roll it back and you'll see what happens. I'll turn off the design for a second. Well, that's cool. How does that work? Well, what it's doing is, as a Luma matte, anything that's white is showing, anything that's black is not showing. So I readjusted this layer just in between the two words, the rampant and design, so as it creeps in, it's showing. I'll show you this right here. I'll turn this off. So as you can see, here's the bounding box for the solid. Anything inside this box that's white, right here, is going to show. So when rampant's halfway through, the rest of rampant is still here. If I turn off the track matte, see, it's still there. I'm just blocking it with the track matte. Now, if you like to work with alpha mattes instead of Luma mattes, it's the same principle. Wherever this box is, wherever the layer is going to show your type if you pick alpha. Same effect. Because my box is there. Now if I move my box, see? Oh, it's wherever the box is. All right. I like working in Luma, so I'll stick with Luma. All right, well, you've seen how we do it for rampant, so the next step is just to duplicate this and redo it for design. So I'll highlight the solid, hit duplicate, pull it up, and then do Luma as well. Now watch what happens though when I don't see design. I see the wrong part of design. What's going on? What's happening? Well, it's because the box is still up here. So I have two options. I can do Luma inverted, which would take the black values instead of the white values. So I do Luma inverted right here, and now you see rampant design. So now whatever's black is showing and whatever's white is not. Or if you just want to keep things organized and you don't want to do some Luma and some Luma inverted, go back to Luma, and then just reposition the matte. Hit P and pull it down. So now roll back, hit spacebar, and you now have your growing type effect. Your split. And that's super simple. If it wasn't for me yammering on, we'd be done by now. And here's a little helpful tip. If you've got all this work done and you're like, oh, I want to reposition or move this around a little bit, I don't like where it is within reason because you're still matting, you can go to Layer New, Null Object, right? Highlight Design, highlight Rampant, and take this pick whip and go over to the null. And holding Shift and the arrow keys, you can reposition. So if you're like, well, I'm a little farther over than I want to be, boom, there you go. And your animation will still work. Now, if you move it too far, it's not moving the matte, so you'll actually lose it. And I'll show you this. I'll highlight the null, and I'll move it up. So you can't do that. But you can do it within reason and not lose the effect. All right, so there's that. I'm going to show you real quick how to do the alternatives that I showed you. All right, as I scrub through here, we're on to the next one. This is a really cool effect where it comes from the center and moves right. It's right justified. Maybe you have a logo here, or maybe you've got an actor or some kind of interesting framing in your video and you want the text right justified, this is a great way to spice up your type. And we're going to show you how to do it now. Go under Composition, New Composition, or hit Command N. It's going to bring you up the same settings that you did last time. I'm going to call this side type. Why not? Hit OK. Once again, we have an empty timeline. Make sure you click on your type tool, and let's go ahead and I'll just type rampant real quick. Scale it up just a little bit. That's pretty good. I'm going to highlight rampant, duplicate it, turn the bottom layer off, and change this to design. Turn both layers on, highlight design, and shift and the down arrow key and reposition my type. There, that's pretty cool. So I'm all right with that. I'm going to highlight both by hitting Command A and shift and moving over using the right arrow key. Move it over to where I want it to be, move it up and down. That's pretty good. That's fine right there. And so our layout is fine, our last position is fine. So what do we do next? We animate. So highlight both layers by hitting Command A, go to 1 second on the timeline and hit P. And if both layers are highlighted and you click the stopwatch, it will create a keyframe on both layers. So we're good, that's our final resting point. Move back to the first frame, you can hit home or you can click and drag it. And since both are currently highlighted, I'm just going to hit shift and the left arrow key and move this till about here. That's where I'm going to have the animation start. And of course, if I hit spacebar, boom, there it hits that brick wall that I loathe. So go ahead and click and drag the final keyframes. Right click, keyframe assistant, easy ease in. Nice and smooth. Now I want to stagger these animations because if I didn't, I could have made this on one type layer. I didn't need to do it separately unless I wanted to separate it. So you can do that one of two ways. You can actually grab the text and move it down, move the physical layer down. I put it around the 12 frame mark, so it comes in about halfway through, and that's great. But if that bothers you that you've got the layer not starting at 0, that's fine. Just put it back to where it was and click and drag both keyframes and then just move them like so. So it's like, boom. Okay, so our animation's done. What's next? We mat it, of course. So we do layer, new, solid. All right. Again, I'm using solids, so I'm using Luma, so I'm going to keep mine white. If you're using alpha, it doesn't matter what color you're using. Go ahead and click OK. And now the white solid's above both layers. I want to pull it down between design and rampant because I'm working on the mat for rampant. So the first thing we do is go ahead and readjust the position of the solid because we don't want it to take the whole screen because it will show everything. So let's just hold down shift and put it right to the left of design. You can actually use your arrow keys to reposition it. That's pretty good. Now we'll turn on the track matte from rampant. Go to track matte right here, pull it to Luma matte, and now you can see rampant. So let's roll it back. Boom, there you go. So now rampant is matted, design is not. So what do? Let's go ahead and duplicate our layer, our matte, hit Command D, pull it up above design, and turn track matte from none on design to Luma matte. Oh, very cool. Very simple. Moving on to my favorite split type effect. This is the one where the text comes out from the center, is all jumbled, and then boom, reveals your type. Super simple to do, just like last time. So let's go ahead and go composition, new composition, or Command N. Same settings as last time. I'm going to call this horizontal split. There we go. First thing we need to do is put our type in. So I'm going to go ahead and type rampant like that. Scale it up a little bit. That's pretty good. Hit duplicate, turn off the bottom layer, and switch it to design, like so. Turn on both layers, and move design over, so it's not on top of rampant. There you go. And I'm going to highlight both layers and shift and use the arrow keys to position this to where I want it to be. I want design to be over just a little bit. There you go. That's cool. So that would be our final resting position. So once again, we go to 1 second because that's where I want our animation to end. Hit Command A and hit P to reveal the positional information. Go ahead and click on the stopwatch to create 2 keyframes, and then go back to the first just animate, just have a little bit of fun. So I'm going to pull design way over here, and I'm going to pull rampant way over here, like so. Really exaggerated, and so when they go like this, chow, like that. So same exact technique as last time. Of course, there's that dreaded brick wall of a keyframe, linear keyframes. I hate them, so go down to Keyframe Assistant and easy ease in. Cool. Now it comes time for the matting, so go to Layer, New Solid, hit OK. Pull this above Rampant and beneath Design, because this is going to be the matte for Rampant. Now the cool thing about the mats is if you make a mistake or you put it in the wrong place, you can always reposition the mats. Let's say, you know, someone rings the doorbell or you got to sign for a package, you get a phone call, whatever, you forget what you were doing, it's alright, you can always reposition the mats. So right now the mat is covering the entire screen, we don't want that. So what we want to do is hit P, and I want to pull it over just to show Rampant. Like so. And then go ahead and highlight Rampant. Go to Track Matte, switch it to Luma. So now Rampant is only showing in the white, just like before. Cool, so let's do the same for Design. Let's go ahead and highlight our matte, duplicate it, put it above Design, and with this time we want it to be in the other direction. So let's turn it on here. Drag it to be just over Design. Great. Now switch the Luma matte from none to Luma on the design layer and pull it back the timeline. There you go. And you can always readjust if you don't like where that matte line is. Just pull it over just a little bit. You can make it as wide or as narrow as you want. So there you go. That's how you do split type in After Effects. Super simple, great way to spice up your type. Now let's head on over to Premiere and I'll show you how it's done there. Alright, jumping into Adobe Premiere. First things first, I have to say that it's a lot easier to do this effect in After Effects. After Effects is an animation tool. Not saying you can't do this in Premiere, but what I'm trying to say is that unless you just don't want to leave Premiere, you don't want to use After Effects, or you just don't feel like leaving your editor, I think it's a lot easier. There's a few more steps involved in Premiere to make this work, but we'll just do this anyway to show you how you can accomplish this in Adobe Premiere. First things first is you need a title. So go under File, New, Title. That's Command T. And it's going to ask you some parameters. It's 1920 by 1080, 23976, that's great, yep. Hit OK, and then you're going to get this box here. Go ahead and click on the Type tool right here. And click anywhere on the screen and hit your text. I do not like this font, so I am going to change it to Zoner Pro, bold. There we go. And then I want to go ahead and scale this by holding down Shift and dragging out. Reposition this, and that's pretty good. What you've now created is a title. So I'm going to close this box real quick, and it's created this title in your project window. Now go ahead and duplicate that. Under Edit, Duplicate, and now you've got two. One that says Rampant, one that says Rampant. Duplicate, click on your duplicate, and then just change the type. Change that to Design. And I'll pull this over just a little bit. There we go. So I've got two title cards, one that says Rampant, one that says Design. So let's drag this into our timeline. The great thing about these title cards is you can make them as long or as short as you want just by dragging them out. And put Design underneath it. Drag it out. Now, just like you saw in After Effects, they're on the same line basically, so I'm going to click on one. And under Effects Controls, under Motion, twirl that down, you can reposition it right here. So that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm reasonably happy with that. That's pretty cool. So now we have our type. You know what, I actually want to reposition this just a little bit. We'll ramp it up just a scotch, and then go back to Design. Do the same thing. There we go. Makes me a little happier. All right. So we've got our layout here. The next step is to animate, just like we did before. So we're just happen to be any in random location in this timeline. I'm at 5618. I want it to go 1 second up, so I'll just go to 5718. There's a million ways you can do that. Right there. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit. Okay. So again, this is our final resting point for our animation. So the first thing we want to do is highlight each layer, go to Effects Controls, and click on the position to create a positional keyframe. Go ahead and do that to the layer beneath it. Position, so now you've got 2 keyframes. Go back to the beginning, which is 1 second away. All right. And then we just do what we did in After Effects. Highlight our layer, and we'll put Rampant where design was. And click beneath to go to the other layer, and put design where Rampant was. Like so. So then, once again, if we roll through this timeline, like that. Now, again, you've got those crazy linear keyframes. Well, you can actually ease the keyframes in Premiere too. Just click on the final keyframe, right-click, temporal interpolation, and do ease in. It'll be the same for Rampant. So go ahead and zoom in. So click on the last keyframe, right-click, temporal interpolation, ease in. See, nice and smooth. Okay, so the animation's done. So the next thing you need to do is matte. However, here's where things get different. You cannot matte type. Premiere does not see this as a layer, a video layer, or anything other than a title. And it handles titles differently. So if you were to matte this, it would not work. So what you have to do is you have to nest these. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and click on this layer, right click on it, and hit nest. And let's just call it something so we don't start looking at sequence 5, sequence 6, whatever. Change it to Rampant. And highlight the bottom layer, right click, and hit nest. We'll do design. Now, if you ever need to go back in, all nesting is doing is putting a timeline inside a timeline. It's just like pre-comping in After Effects. You can double click on the layer and you can get back to it. So if you need to change your animation, you want to change your font, whatever, you can do that. It's real simple. But you have to nest this in order for Premiere to see this as a layer that you can matte. That's just how it works. Just one extra step. All right, so how do we create a solid in Premiere? Just go under File, New, Color Matte. And again, it's going to ask you for the frame size and speed. I'm going to pull white because I like to do Luma. And just call it whatever color matte, that's fine. It's going to generate it right here in your project window. So go ahead and put this on the timeline. Now we're going to have to go ahead and move some of these layers up so we have room to play. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is Rampant. So let's go ahead and put the matte right above Rampant. Of course, it's covering it just like it always did in After Effects. So highlight your color matte, go under your effects controls, twirl down motion, and we just reposition it to taste. We want it to be just outside of Rampant, like that, covering up Rampant. And in order to do a matte in Premiere, you need a track matte key. So go under Effects, Video Effects, Key, Track Matte Key. You want to go ahead and drag that onto your type. And it's going to come up here in the effects controls and it's going to ask you a few questions. First of all, where is your matte? It says none. We want to change that to video layer 5, which is where our matte sits. And then do you want to matte alpha or Luma? I'm going to do Luma. So if I roll it back, there you go. Rampant is done. All right. So then what do you do next for design? Same technique. Go ahead and you can either go to your project window and drag the color matte back in, or you could have just duplicated this one and pulled it down. Highlight this matte, go under effects controls, twirl down motion, and go ahead and cover just design. So now that's covered. Again, go back to effects, or you can copy from the previous layer. Go ahead and drag track matte key onto design. It's going to ask you for some information in the effects controls. Track matte key, it says none. You want to make sure that is video layer 3. That's where our matte is right here. So none, video layer 3, and I'm going to use Luma. So if I roll it back, there you go. And of course, you want to make sure you leave some room for whatever is going to go beneath these titles. So if you have just some video, just throw it over video. Or if you want to get funky and you want to put some cool designy background behind it, you can do that as well. And you can animate that background in and out. So super simple to do split type in Premiere. So that's about it. That's how you split text in Adobe After Effects and Adobe Premiere. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments below. Also hit us up if you have a question that you want featured here on Ask Rampant. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube here. Please subscribe to us on YouTube here. And make sure to sign up for our weekly newsletter. It's chock full of cool tutorials, not just by me. We've got Kes, we've got Final Cut Steph, we've got the world famous Kevin P. McAuliffe. We've got all kinds of great free tutorials. We offer free effects every week through 4K Free. You can get hundreds of free effects if you're interested. And we also have amazing deals for editors and motion graphics and visual effects artists. You'll find the link to our newsletter in the description of this video. Until next time, I'm Sean Mullen from Rampant Design. Thanks for watching.